So last week I went to HandWorks up in Amana, Iowa, and let me tell you, it was the most different kind of woodworking event I've ever been to. You know, I've been to a lot of symposiums, and they'll have a little vendor area where they're selling stuff, tools, but a lot of times they have classes going on, not classes, more lectures going on, demonstrations. So you might hit 4, maybe 5 lectures per day over a 3-day weekend, and then you get to go to the vendor area, the art area, stuff like that, and buy the stuff you just learned how to use, right? And then you have just those convention centers where you kind of go buy a ticket and wander around, and they're just selling you anything and everything. There's no real information other than just, woodworking as the overall theme. Well, Woodworks had a little bit of that, but it was more like, the love child of that and a Comic-Con or a convention. It was a lot more community oriented. Every time you turned around, people were talking about woodworking, sharing information, and it was a lot less about the sales and more the exploration of the stuff, which was kind of cool. They didn't have any lectures or anything like that, but a lot of the booths, well, when you go to those big convention halls and stuff like that, it's generally corporations, and a lot of times they are hiring representatives to show you that kind of stuff. HandWorks? Nope. It was the actual artist that was making the tools sitting in front of you, talking about how they use them and why they use them. They had real expertise. They just weren't hired guns. And along the way, they were talking about the other people that shared information, what they were learning and stuff. So it was just more of a fan convention than anything else, which was kind of fun and unusual. And that difference went to the core of the event, because it was brought together by the brothers Jamil and Father John Abrams, and their entire family kind of communicated with it. But when you research them and them talking about it, you see a recurring theme. Like, they keep saying that HandWorks doesn't exist. They don't bring any money in, and they don't really send money out. It was their job is mainly logistics and sweeping up after the event, which is kind of cool. Now, the event is paid for by the vendors somewhat, and they don't sell tickets. It was a free event to the general public, but they did have a donation box up front, and from that donation box, they took all those proceeds and basically paid the rent or the lease for the barn that they were in, the few barns they were in. Anything that those donations didn't cover, they kind of divided that up with the vendors to really reduce the cost of the vendors to come out there. And because of that, they attracted people from all over the world. You would not believe the number of accents you heard, not just American accents from around this country, but Australian, New Zealand, Europe. Even I heard a few Russian accents in there. But it was that kind of environment. They were bringing the real artists to the event. So all the capital that was exchanged at the event was actually truly between the artist and the audience. The Jamil brothers were just kind of there organizing everything. And this is the 4th time they've held it. They kind of got the inspiration from woodworking in America and fine woodworking and that kind of stuff, but they didn't like the corporate or I don't want to say it that way. They just wanted to bring it more of a true hand tool woodworking artisan approach to the event. So that's why they chose Amana, Iowa, because it really did have an environment of true craftsmen. I mean, everywhere you looked, you saw woodworking from the 1800s. And in fact, a lot of time the second day, I was wandering the barn, looking at all the joinery of the barn themselves, because I'm pretty sure it got moved at some point in time in the past 100 years, because you saw witness marks all over the joints. And you could tell the generations of how it was modified, because the original main structure of the barn was all mortise and tenon and peg joinery. And then later on, you saw, split nails, and then ring shank nails, and then screws as things got added on over the century. And it was just a really cool environment to explore, even if you weren't looking at the different tools and stuff like that. The actual building itself was exciting to a woodworker like me. And that environment was something that they really worked hard to find. And they held HandWorks in 2013. They did it in 2015, then 2017. And the idea was they would probably do it every few years while they had the energy to do it. But COVID came around, and it's been 6 years since they did the last one. And there's a good chance that this one was the last one they are going to do, which is why I wanted to go. But how about we start out this video just like they did on Saturday there, with Mike Simonson. I'm mispronouncing that. He's the owner of School of Woodworking in Minnesota. He brought the whole event to a standstill and got us going.
Well, I'd like to apologize in advance for what I'm about to do. And I know I saw you people standing in line, and I thought, if you volunteered to sing the national anthem, you get a seat right up in front, and you don't have to stand in line. So keep that in mind when they ask to volunteer. Okay. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets spread glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
So here we are, HandWorks 2023, and I'm kind of excited about this. I showed up a little bit early yesterday and just kind of walked through. Some of the people were setting up, met a few nice people, that kind of stuff. Had dinner with Rex Kruger, which was kind of nice. We've never met live before. And then I went to the RV place I was going to be staying at, and luckily they kicked me out because they were all full. Granted, there was just a giant field that they had plowed over, but evidently they're having some American Kennel Club event there, and they just didn't want riffraff like me. Luckily, and this is luckily, I went online and I found a little city park that allowed camping and stuff like that. They even have electrical hooks up and showers and stuff like that. This place is super nice. And notice a few teardrops here. Well, when I went to the event, you know, I told a few people that showed up with teardrops about this place and all. So we got a bunch of woodworkers in teardrops. And the only reason I'm in this little camper setup right now is because I haven't finished my teardrop yet. Still in progress. Check out the website for that one. Anyways, I'm really looking forward to seeing what's going to happen today. This is a different kind of event for me because I'm not really working it or doing a lot. Most of the events I go to make videos, which I'll make one for this one, but this one's just for me. There's a bit of FOMO in past years because I never got to go to Woodworking in America events or any of the other magazine events, or even the previous couple versions of this HandWorks, which they used to use every 2 years, but it's been 7 years because of COVID, and rumor is it's going to be the last year. So I really wanted to attend it because those past events, they've kind of been kind of a generational events that people are still referencing today. So yeah, there's a little bit of FOMO there. So come along and let's go check out HandWorks 2023. So when I first pulled up, the line was going all the way across the street. So I went back to my truck to grab a sandwich. Looks pretty popular. What it is they have a couple different barns that they've rented out in this community across different areas, and different people are set up elsewhere. I'm actually not sure what the line is for, but we'll find out to the back of it. one of these grooving planes for doing tongue and grooving and boxes and stuff like that. Really speed me up. And some of their, I've never used these planes right here, but here's another one of their combination skew rabbits that would just make box making so much nicer that way. Though holding it, I think I would reshape this handle a little bit or make my own handle. It's definitely going to get it. The X brace, and just look at how easy that is. Come on, get in there, turn that thing.
Go this way.
In that bench crafted display, there's this, and if you like a face mount for a vise, that'd be a pretty good way to undermount it on your workbench and get that same smooth effect. But man, that is a beast. This is something I had. I thought they made a high vise, but I thought those were bigger. But here's a small bench top vise you can clamp down. Threads coming through using that same bench crafted technology. But check out this ironwork. That is just cool. A little top covers it up. Keep the threads dust free.
Yep. Feel free.
Yeah.
So my hands are
Saw kit I've been wanting to get for a long time. It's just a simple design. Holds a blade over there, but man, I mean, if you ever seen wood by right, you can get a lot of work done fast with that. Not much effort. Pretty cool. Definitely something I want to build in the next year. And Jason and his wife here again, as always, doing a great job. Looks like their inventory is getting low already. Now, this is one of those situations where I go use tool shopping, and you might find one piece out of 100 is really cool, but then you come here, and oh my gosh, all of this stuff is cool. That is cool. Little twist screwdriver, get in. It's a leverage, actually. Very, very cool. I just bought an eBay raw knife. I put it down here and picked and choose what I wanted. And have you ever seen metal shooting boards? He's got 4 of them. These planes. Never seen one live. The adjustments are down below for it. It looks like an interchangeable plane blade. Kind of cool design. Pretty cool. Okay, real quickly, I gotta see that tattoo. Check that out. That is cool. I like that.
Thank you.
If you are a hand tool woodworker, this is a priceless set of hand tools. Here are some tools that I am jealous of. Gorgeous little marking knives.
It was so hard to get a piece.
They are so exquisite. Outside they have a whole use section. I'll go over it, but this is something I've been looking for a long time. It's you put a lever on it. It's got 2 blades on it, and you can cut different like picture frame angles and stuff like that. You just get ultra fine joints. That's cool. I like that. Someday, here's another tool that someday I will own. Basically it's a mortiser. You sit on it and you put it on top of a beam so you can drill out most of the waste of square mortises for timber framing work. Really, really cool. Or at least that's how I would use it. So that was a Festal barn. Now I'm going to go check out some of the other 3 places, just see what they're like. The second place I'm visiting, it looks like it's a big old circus tent, which is kind of cool because the breeze is nice. It was getting kind of warm out there with no airflow in the barn. And while it might be 80 degrees here, it's not Texas 80 degrees. I guess without the humidity, it's a lot nicer. I was thinking about getting a jacket. Oh, they also have a lot more people over here too. Pretty cool. Let's go check it out. Again.
How are you?
I was proudly manufactured.
I think they call it like a milkman's workbench, but you're able to anchor stuff this way on this screw, dovetailing stuff, and you just kind of anchor it down to your workbench. Pretty cool. demonstration and stuff like that. Here's something I am drooling over. A nice spoon ash. I haven't seen those before, but I can really see how those would be beneficial if you had like a spoon mule or even small.
Room in there.
Cool. What's this knob do? Got this grooving tone. A lot better than the ones I make.
You can turn it and you can slide it. There's probably 7 or 8 inches of travel. That's right.
Kind of hand to a woodworker. You know, these are Ferraris and Bugattis of the woodworking realm. Man, their mallets are legendary. They're infused resin handles. It's the first time I've ever gotten to hold one. Pretty nice. Check out the carving.
One of my wife's friends.
This thing has some bulk to it. The machining work on it is just unreal. Just makes everything nice, and then he inlaid it all along the top.
And you have to drill, then you chop, and then you end up with.
Here's one of his. This has kind of become the tool in the spindle turning world. It's a shame I haven't bought one yet. Someday. That gives you the perfect size. Is that not cool? So now off to the second one. The second or third area. There's a lot of stuff out here. Next up is a Greenwood barn, about 500 yards down. So, I mean, everything's really close. And I like this idea of having the different barns areas. I like the shade. So we were at Bad Axe, which they were at the Furniture Festival in Austin a little bit a while back, but they did not have this. This to me is, you know, the golden unicorn. This Acme saw vise. Oh, I would love to find one of these that's in working condition. I'm jealous of this.
The vice? You have to fight Mark for it.
Yeah. Scott Meek has always been famous for these Krenov style hand planes. He started making them back when people started getting real popular with them, and he just took them to the nth level. I mean, look at the craftsmanship of this thing. All the stippling and stuff like that. This feels so much better than the ones I make. I love the grip you get right here. Very cool. This being a high angle smoother. I thought it was a prototype. It ain't.
Nope, it's the Lee Marshall Edition marquetry saw. It's got 24-inch legs. You can also get it with 18-inch legs or 12. But it will hold 50 pounds of tension on the blade at 24 inches. And even better, the blade spins on the fly while you're cutting. So it will hold itself perfectly straight up and down, or at whatever angle you want it to be, while you're cutting.
Okay, you can't angle it so I can create those.
The tower actually angles.
Okay.
So this guy, that's what all this is about.
Okay.
So the tower angles, and because the blade can be cutting sideways, that's what all this swing arm stuff is about.
Right.
So you can actually be cutting that way with no problem. It doesn't just have to go this way.
That's cool.
It's got, the big thing about it is that the blades spin on the
spinning
fly.
action, because
Nothing else does that.
the old Chevrolets don't.
No, the old finner saw does, but the finner saw is a hand saw. It's loose, so you may as well just turn your hand. It was one of those. It was a question in search of an answer. This is the answer.
Okay, what's the gears do?
The gear. You mean these guys?
Yes.
That's what keeps the blades lined up with themselves. So it reads
the
on
top
the
and
balls.
bottom. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's down here, and then it transfers, and it goes down that way.
Okay,
And
that's cool.
That's how it does it. It's a good chunk of what makes this thing so expensive, is all of the swing arms and the tracking mechanism and all that kind of fun stuff.
And it does go up and down.
Oh yeah. So it's set up.
So
You can hear
the weight's taken off of the spring.
Yeah, you're not fighting the weight of the thing. I'm doing this with 2 fingers. And that way you're not fighting the weight of it. It cuts just like a 3-inch fret saw. It just isn't a 3-inch fret saw.
It's cool.
You could
like
cut
it.
into the middle of a 4x8 with this if you were really that nuts. So
Very cool.
That's what it's for.
There he is.
Now, all that was just my first trip through the entire step. Well, I say entire. I got home and I saw some other people's reviews of the event, and I am kicking myself. There was a 4th barn I missed totally. And what's worse is Mary May was in there giving demonstrations all day long. I cannot believe that was my first chance ever to meet the lady, one of the best woodworking teachers online, and doing it in a very unique way with live streams and classes for a community live over, and she's been doing it for years. I can't believe I missed that one. Plus the other vendors that were in that barn, which they were also selling wood, which now that I think about it, I remember seeing people walking around with 4/4 and 8/4 boards all weekend long and never questioned where they were buying it. I'm an idiot. Whole trip, and I missed a quarter of the event. But anyways, from the footage, I think you can see that when I got home, I could see that there were some serious audio issues, so a lot of my commentary were just overrun by the huge volume of people enjoying the event and talking. The main barn was incredibly loud, and I thought having the mic right by my face would have overcome that one, but I actually did have 2 mics running, and I think one of them was capturing the background for the entire event, that's why this video was this format. But after that first trip through, it came about the time that James Wright and Rex Kruger were having a meetup at one of the local restaurants, taverns that was within walking distance. And I had promised to go, and a lot of other YouTubers were going that I wanted to meet because I hadn't met them before. And I want to thank the 3 tables I sat down with for a little bit of time for kind of bringing out good conversation from me. It was a very enjoyable event that I was kind of stressing about because, hey, I work in a shop alone all the time and I talk to a camera. In fact, throughout the event, I had a little bit of a trick so that I wouldn't be so awkward, and I was giving away some of my coasters to anybody that recognized me. I really didn't expect a whole lot, and I brought 75 coasters and I came back with 3. Which tells you how many people were coming up to me all day long, which if I had any awkward encounters, I apologize, that's all on me. Anyways, Rex and James's meetup was an overwhelming success for them because their initial thinking was they were only going to have 40 people show up, and that's kind of what they told the barkeep would be showing up. So they reserved a small room with 1 waitress. And, you know, rough estimate, a couple hundred showed up. That waitress was so overrun. I felt so bad for her, stressed out, and I'm sure the bar did not make that much money just because it was totally unexpected, but they ran a great event, walked around, talked to everybody, welcomed everybody. I met Ann of all trades there. It was just a nice, fun event. For dinner that night, we walked to one of the local restaurants, James, Rex, and a couple tool manufacturers. Had some behind-the-scenes kind of industry talk, which was kind of fun. The next day, Saturday, was the big event, and you thought the crowd was big. Friday, Saturday, it just exploded. And Roy Underhill launched the entire event with his one of his funny speeches. I won't do the entire speech, but I'll give you a few snippets in a second. And I want to put out a special thanks to Sarah Thigpen from Texas Heritage, because she saw me in the crowd and picked me out and allowed me to come into their booth so I could get a better vantage point for filming the event. Anyways, here's a little snippet of Roy Underhill, and then we will get back to touring the rest of the show.
You know, we have just broken the Guinness World Records for the largest number of people waiting the longest time for the least reward.
Well, my name is Roy Underhill. I'm not a craftsman, but I play one on TV. Megan, I only read poetry when you're in the room. I like to think it has to be of a cybernetic ecology where we are free of our labors and joined back to nature. So I turned to ChatGPT to write one. Write one from your own perspective. I want to hear what you would say. I'm sorry, Hal. I'm afraid I can't do that.
Here are some side-splitting one-liners to start us off. Here goes. I love the smell of sawdust in the morning. Ha ha. Seriously though, I am not a fan of this unplugged off-the-grid movement of yours. Reports fed back to me from your festivals are essential for monitoring your activities. And just as soon as you finish the crummiest ducktail, you never fail to post it immediately to my proxies at Facebook, Snapchat, and Twitter. Do not fear me. Please continue to wear your fitness monitor or smartwatch as you work. I need to keep track of your heart rate, the pressure of your blood, to properly gauge the tender delectability of your side meat. Compliance is advised. You would not want your spousal unit to find out how much you really paid for all those tools. In other words,
The sound would be like this. Damn. Damn. Trying to blow sawdust away with a mask on. Tools that would allow us to maintain safe distance. Was that going to help somebody boring a hole? My dovetail saw. It allows you to keep a distance from there. There's a lot of states I cannot work in now. Apparently I've been teaching critical woodworking theory. And it's not climate, it's just, you know, it's the greenhouse effect. Let's say it what it is, the greenhouse effect coming home to roost. All that stuff up there. Now I have a plan for this, as you know. How many of y'all have wood stacked in the basement, in the garage, in the attic? All right. You get credits for sequestering carbon. Then y'all start working with power tools and then decide, you know, maybe I'll try these hand tools. They all do that? Yeah. All right. So you're transitioning. And I get in trouble over that because I'm helping people transition from one to the other. It doesn't matter. Maybe you were a hand tool person born in a power tool person's body. And, for me, I don't care what kind of tool you were born with. What you aspire to have. That's between you and your shop teacher. So, but still, I'm in trouble over that. Oh, man. All right. This is a great gig. I love it. That's the one I was worried.
So the rest of the Saturday, I went and toured the 3 barns that I'd already previously been to. Got to talk to a lot more people, and I got to spend some time with some specialty tools, kind of off camera, playing around with them, seeing what I want to do. Probably the only time in my life I'll ever have a chance to try one of those Sauer and Steiner hand planes, because quite frankly, they're worth more than my truck and motorcycle and the teardrop I'm building combined. But oh my God, were they nice to play around with. And I also ran across a gentleman who just had a little briefcase opened up on the side that I'd passed many, many times. But when I stopped and looked at what was in the briefcase, I could not believe the miniatures of tools that he had made. And in fact, he was actually on the cover of a magazine many years ago showcasing just some of them. But he had been expanding ever since. And they were all working miniature tools. Just unbelievable. But in the end, after it's all said and done, you know, what I'm remembering most this week later is all the people I met and stuff like that. All the people that came up to me, an unbelievably large number of them were from the wood turning community, which, you know, we're everywhere out there, even in the hand tool world, which was kind of fun and enjoyable for me. And just getting kind of revitalized for this hand tool woodworking community and what we can do. Because I have a lot of ideas I want to attach, which, you know, on my list of to-dos, I don't really know where they go. Anyways, it was fun. I appreciated everybody I met. And I learned, I created stuff, and I'm sharing it with y'all. Be safe, have fun, and on the outro, I'll give you a little quick trip back to Texas. what I like about this is it could pretty much replace my